Samsung's making some questionable moves with the S26 Ultra, and a new report out of South Korea just revealed something you probably weren't expecting. And honestly, this one could backfire on Samsung. Let's dive in. Even before the S25 series came out, there were already reports that Samsung would use a dual-chip strategy for the S26 lineup. Basically, the S26 Pro and the S26 Edge would ship with either the Exynos-2600 or the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5, depending on where you live. But here's the twist. In a recent interview, Samsung's foundry chief confirmed the Exynos-2600 is already entering mass production this month. And according to South Korean media, it won't just power the Pro and Edge. This time, it might even show up in the S26 Ultra. Now, that's a shocker. Let's be real, Samsung hasn't pulled this move in years. Back in the day, they did sneak Exynos into their Ultra phones. But since the S22 series, they've kept Exynos limited to the standard and plus variants. So yeah, take this with a grain of salt. But if it's true, how different will the S26 Ultra in Europe perform compared to the Snapdragon-powered Ultra in the US? Well, we've already got a clue. Geekbench scores for the Exynos-2600 just surfaced. And honestly, these results don't even feel like the old Exynos we used to know. The 2600 crushes last year's Exynos-2500 by over 40% in single-core and about 37% in multi-core. That's actually pretty impressive. But here's the catch. When you stack it against the leaked Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 scores, the Exynos-2600 still comes up a little short in single-core. And here's another detail. Xiaomi's 17 Pro is using the standard Snapdragon chip with prime cores, clocked at 4.64 GHz. Meanwhile, Samsung usually tweaks the Ultra with a slightly faster custom Snapdragon chip. And this one's rumored to push past 4,000 in single core, so yeah. On paper, the Exynos 2600 still feels like a letdown next to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5. But let's keep it real. These benchmarks are done under full power. In everyday use, most people won't even notice the difference. But the real problems with Exynos have always been the same: overheating, weak battery life, and poor gaming performance. Thankfully, Samsung actually made some major changes this year. First, they reworked the CPU architecture for more speed and added a beefed-up heat sink to keep temps under control. Second, they built it on a much more advanced node than any other flagship chip right now. And third, Samsung basically redesigned the whole thing, upgraded GPU, faster clocks, improved efficiency, and much stronger on-device AI. All the stuff Exynos used to struggle with. Now, don't get me wrong, those are solid upgrades. But here's my take, it could still backfire. If Samsung really wants to rebuild trust in Exynos, they should have stuck to the dual-chip strategy on the Pro and Edge first, before throwing it into the Ultra. Because let's be honest, would you actually trade your Snapdragon-powered S25 Ultra for an Exynos-powered S26 Ultra? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you're curious, I just covered 10 design changes coming to the S26 Ultra that you definitely need to see. Click right here. This is Techtics, and I'll see you over there.